here for folks like us. Wrong city, wrong people.
And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Aesop Grim here, and this is the continuation of my playthrough in the Burning Crusade. So Trump just got done farming the materials he needed to make his pre-raid best in slot fell leather boots. And the big deal about that, and it was a little bit expensive, I had to get 8 primal shadows that cost 160 gold. Fortunately, I had that kind of money to spend, and I already had most of the other mats on me. I had just had to farm the heavy knothead leather. But the important thing about that is that it has plus 25 hit rating, which the domino effect there is that it allows me to go and purchase a BOE pure damage cape for my back slot called the Vengeance Cape instead of whatchamacallit, having to roll on a Karazhan back piece that also has a lot of hit rating on it, but not as much. It's not as good at damage. So it's kind of like a twofer. I get the boots in place, which allows me to then go purchase the cape, which is a lot easier and more likely for me to get. And on top of that, leads ultimately to higher DPS. So those boots are actually kind of important for that reason. So I was real happy to have found the recipe and then created it. Give me just a second. No, that's all right. So where do we need to go? Kill jungle stalkers, loot them for their feathers. Okay. I guess we should throw the buffs on. Alright. Just realized I was stuck in my own head there for a little bit, going over some stuff. Didn't talk for a while. Tethys, do I need him? I guess I do not. Well, let's pass him up then and just focus on the jungle stalkers. It's been a while since I've been on the druid. You know, I had a lot to get done with Trump, and I still do. But, not really anything right now that's real super record worthy, because I'm focused on leatherworking. And I'm trying to get that skill up so that I need it at 375 so that I can get the... I went ahead and changed my mind. I don't know if I told you guys about this. I decided to get enhancement leatherworking specialty to make primal strike leather. Actually, I think I did tell you about that because I think I recorded that in the video. Me going to actually get the training. I'm not sure. Anyway, now you know if you didn't before. That I'm going primal strike. I just actually found out from another guildie who's pretty knowledgeable on the game that the TBC Beast Lord, I think it's a 3, but maybe it's a 4-piece. It is. It's a 4-piece set bonus along with primal strike. 3-piece set bonus is so I guess according to him. Now I don't see this reflected on anything else, on any of the lists. You know what? I think I did find a list that does have it listed as an option, but that's our BIS until like phase 5. And I think some of these lists don't have it because it requires you to have that leatherworking option, and they're trying to create more universal lists that you can get through dungeons, and anybody can get no matter what your profession is. But I did find one place that seemed to indicate this was an alternative or an option. Anyway, I kind of trust my guy, and I would prefer to roll the dice on what guildies have to say. Just not so much... It's not so much that I'm trusting one individual over what I would call communal knowledge, and that's what the internet kind of brings, is like, these tend to be consensus ideals, but more for the teamwork aspect and the customization, I suppose. I hope I'm making sense here, because I don't know if it makes sense in my own head with the words I'm using, of being in a guild. It's like our flavor, you know, and it maybe makes us a little bit different or something like that, and I like that, you know. I don't really play this game for loot. Oddly enough, for somebody who's a complete introvert and actually quit this game because I was so tired of the people, and really got into Skyrim because Skyrim presented the same sort of obsessively good gameplay as a single-player game, right? That's my tendencies. I am just not a big MMO person. I used to play some EVE Online, and I would solo that. You know, I never joined a corporation or anything like that. A good part of my WoW time early on had revolved around me just leveling characters because it was sort of therapeutic for me. So it's kind of odd to me that the biggest aspect now in my WoW enjoyment is seeing all of this content that I missed with a group of people that I've been playing with for a couple years now. So because of all that, maybe that, with that kind of a context explanation, you get the feel of where I'm coming from. And that explains why I would, even if it ends up being wrong, would prefer to at least give it a shot on what my guildie is talking about and take his advice. Trying to skin these. Alright, we need Jungle Stalker feathers still. So anywho, there's your explanation as to why I'm pushing so hard on the leatherworking stuff, because I want to get those primal strike pieces made. I think it's chest, belt, hands, but I'm not for sure. And then I want to get my Beast Lord gear together, my Beast Lord set, because that second bonus, I don't remember exactly how it works, but that second bonus is nuts. It's something like every time my I get the, I can't think of what the spell's called, guys, but the little thing that happens whenever your pet crits or something like that, or it's actually whenever you crit, it becomes active, and if you click that button, which I have it macroed so I never miss it, then your pet hits for some really big damage. Every time that ability gets employed, you gain 10 seconds of something. I don't remember if it's plus 300 attack power, or I think it's extra crit. Well, with as often as hunters crit, then that's almost like a permanent buff. And the better geared you get, the better it's going to be, the more often it's going to be active, because you'll be critting more often. So anyway, I guess those two things together, those two set bonuses, the Primal Strike and the Beast Lord, end up being BIS for hunters until phase 5. So I am trying to get that done. It'll be way expensive. But what else am I going to spend the gold on, you know? Okay. How are we doing now? We're at 7 of 10. There's something here that can be... yeah, it's beyond me. So at some point in time, I need to take the druid back to another zone, or maybe up north. Northern STV is lower level, and get his herbalism up. right, one more. Man, when it comes to leveling, this character's kind of a bit of a dream. Just by virtue of the nature of the character, you can kind of answer any situation, and you can heal yourself, so you're go, 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 go. There's just no chill. If you really want to just power level and go for gold, so to speak, you can do that. Oh, speaking of which, wow. I'm not a big hockey person. I just never learned the sport, you know. But man, that's got to be one of the most American sports in the country right now. And the men's hockey team, not so much maybe the women's. The women's hockey team won gold. I don't know who they beat. I don't know very much. I didn't look up. I don't know, man. It's just objectively true. It's for whatever reason. You can call it misogyny if you want. I think that's a dumbass response. And it's something else. But people are just not into women's sports. Even girls are not into women's sports as much as they are into watching the fellas. You know, so sorry. You know, but I wasn't motivated enough to go find out any backstory to the girls, but I am proud of them. The thing is that I read one of them is from Minnesota. Her name is Kelly Panek, I guess, something like that. And she had opinions on ice. Well, you know, F your couch. Yeah, I think you're stupid and you're un-American. And I don't like you. You know, I don't know who else on that team shares those sentiments. Maybe nobody. But it is enough to just, I'm not in your corner, you know? Get wrecked. I don't care. And well, you know what? I don't think it's to the point that I would be pulling for them to lose. Like I said, I'm happy they won. I'm just more neutral. I'm more neutral. I just don't care, you know? But the men's hockey team, they're like the antithesis of that, man. It's not like they came out and were pro-ice. They're just pro-American, you know? They're proud to be playing for America. They're proud to be American. They were proud to wear those colors and to be part of the legacy of the team that the Miracle on Ice, you know, or just the legacy, the torchbearer of those that have represented America in the past on past Olympic teams, even the ones that lost. You know, let's not throw them in the dustbin. They gave their best efforts also. But the unifying thing between all these teams was that they were there to represent America. And so this team carried that sentiment very strongly. And it makes me like them more. It makes me more interested. I went and looked up their highlights. I read about, you know, how they got here from there, sort of, their backstory and stuff. And I know some of the names now. Whenever hockey is something that I almost never, ever watch. But the Trump White House, talk about savage. Oh my gosh. They put out a picture of a bald eagle standing over a goose it had killed on the ice. Like the goose is clutched in its talons and there's blood on its beak. And it has an old tweet from Justin Trudeau underneath it that says, "You cannot take our country or our sport." This is with the surrounding context of Alberta voting to separate from Canada and the Trump administration openly courting them and saying, "What can we do to help?" What kind of relations can we form if you guys are able to do this for trade relations or or affiliation, whether they want to become a state within the United States, which I don't think they do, but that's probably certainly on the table, or a territory like Puerto Rico, where you get Puerto Rico and Guam, you get some added benefits, and I'm sure some funding that comes along with that, as well as some representation within our government. Or if it's just simply you're going to be your own sovereign nation, and we will establish trade relations with you, and a military alliance and things of that nature, more diplomacy-based things. So that's what the Trump admin has been talking to them about. And the rest of Canada is like pissed, So that tweet hit really hard. You cannot take our country or our sport. Well, we just beat you for gold, so we took your sport. That's your national pastime, and for us, it's an afterthought. And Alberta is a thing. So it kind of just, I lolled, man. That was brutal. Take that, Mark Carney. You frickin' soy boy. Yeah, actually, my sleep schedule's been super irregular, so I just woke up. It's, what time is it? It's 10 p.m. at night. And so, I haven't listened. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm having kind of a brain fart. I haven't listened to the news today. A lot of it. I think I did listen to one video, but I can't remember. I think it was about AOC. I guess AOC got on Instagram and cried. Or looked like she was about to cry, or that she'd been drinking or something like that. I don't know, but she seemed to be caught up in her emotions about people mocking her for, according to her, taking her time to think and answer a question. Bitch, you didn't take time to think. You straight brain froze and all over yourself for like 30 seconds before you found your feet and came up with an empty platitude. You didn't explain jack squat. You thought of a way to try and get out of that question with something that was nothing, that was not a real answer. Man, that chick is dumb. That I believe the conspiracy theory that when Donald Trump shocked the world and beat Hillary Clinton, Cenk Uygur, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, of the Young Turks, went out and put together kind of like a think group to find candidates that were anti-establishment. See, the left's been trying to do what the right has actually accomplished. Everybody is going populist, the left and the right. Communism is a populist movement, actually, by the people who really believe in it. The people who know it for what it is, it's an authoritarian hoodwink to get them more power. But for the poor souls that are dumb enough to believe it actually works, it's a populist movement. So he went out, and that's where we got Rashid Tlaib, we got that chick in Minnesota, the Somalian, I can't think of her name right now, and we got AOC. And I think that maybe not in all their cases, but at least in AOC's case, and it's more likely than not that it is all of their cases. They are actresses. They're performers. They're not actually policymakers. They don't know very much. They know how to take the lines that are given to them in the background and go fight for that and make it an optics thing and get on TikTok and appeal to the people and stuff like that. That's what they're there for. Now that's effective, don't get me wrong, that has some effect. But it makes them shysters, they're grifters, they're bullshit. And so, whenever they get put in a position of having to answer something that they weren't fully prepared for ahead of time, they end up looking like idiots, and all they can do is fall back on empty platitudes. And that's what happened with AOC. What a knucklehead. I do think that chick's about the best that they have, though, when it comes to the Democrats to run for president. And I'm loving that fact. At least right now I am. We'll see. If we've entered into full demagoguery, then maybe it'll be a problem. But I see that chick getting toe up from the flow up when she gets on the debate stage against somebody who really does know policy. So she's just really, really popular with the left. I want to say I don't know why, but I do know why. It's because lefties are stupid. They're... again, I always have to correct myself. I really don't think there's very many people that are truly stupid. I think there are different kinds of intelligence. Look, AOC, I think, is socially intelligent. I think she has a really good feel for the room. I think she probably... likely, this will probably sound like I'm throwing shade or maybe making some lewd innuendos, and I'm not. I mean this literally. She probably was a really good bartender, because I'm guessing that chick can look at a fella and read his eyes and his body language and know faster than most and more accurately than most what's going on with him. Like, just in a matter of a few milliseconds. She can read a room, she can look at women and know what their hidden motivations are. Those are things that I suspect about AOC, because there are different kinds of intelligence. And none of these people got in the position they are by being complete idiots. But we don't really have a great word to describe what it is we're talking about. When I think what we're really talking about is we're talking about foolhardiness. You are foolish. And when it comes to the left, they are so thoroughly indoctrinated and information suppressed when it comes to the truth. So that's like a double whammy, right? Which is how propaganda always works. They are at the same time shielded from real facts while fed believable lies that also, importantly, feed into their emotional confirmation bias. That's how you hook them. That's how you hook a person. That's a hustle, right? It's a hustle. The left is really, really good at this, and their people, whenever I say the left here in the last instance, I'm talking about the people who are doing things that they know what they're doing. The voters don't know. That's why they're hoodwinked. The voters are sheep. They're the victims. And so that's what happens when you get propagandized. I've said this many times before. I believe it absolutely to be true. It takes a person and makes them effectively, functionally stupid in a targeted area. They can be otherwise smart in a whole bunch of other areas. They could be a lawyer, a doctor, a CEO. But because of how propaganda works, they are functionally dumb in very targeted, specific areas. Uh-oh. That was a whole big group. Man, I almost got. I'm clear. Behind. I need to drag off from those guys. My goodness. Oh, somebody healed me. /TY. It was a fellow druid. That's cool. It does seem to me like the druid community is kind of tight-knit. I don't really know if that's true or not. I just get that feeling. And there we go. Alright, singing blue crystals. Kill venture company goblins. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Oh. You made a mistake. That was a fork in the road decision. You almost got to live today. Alright, it looks like I am level 44. Man, I haven't played this character in so long, I forgot what level I was. We're doing about 30,000 XP per hour. I think I'm in the right spot. Yes. Okay. Oh. Miner, right? Yes. Alright, so we are looking... Oh, I need miners too, it looks like. Well, it says goblins. I don't know, I'm just going to look for the goblin. Oh, they're all goblins. Okay, so not geologists. No joy. Uh-oh. Oh, it's too many. Too many. Need to reset that fight. I might be able to do that if I was full health. We'll see if we can take care of it now. Ah, I missed it. Okay, so his little summoned guy goes away as soon as I kill him, it seems. I keep missing these. I have gotten 0 singing blues shards so far. Man, guys, I'm going long stretches not talking. I think I'm just zoning into getting this covered. I think I almost drew more aggro. Oh, I did. Somebody else hit him. I got lucky. I think it was a hunter. Yeah, Night Elf Hunter. Alright, well, thank you, Mr. Night Elf. That helped. It is late at night, so maybe I'm not tired because I just woke up, but I don't know. Something's going on where I'm just not talking very much. Okay, 5 of 10. Oh man, that was a lot of crits. Oh, I don't think I've seen a tinkerer before. I thought it said surveyor. It probably didn't. It probably did say tinkerer. And oh, ding. And I just had like half the word and the grass or shadow or something like that. So we dinged. What should we take next? I think it is supposed to be shredding attacks. I better look this up. Let's see. WoW, TBC, Feral, Druid, leveling, spec. Alright, Feral Druid DPS class overview, here we go, and yes it is shredding attacks. Reduces the energy cost of your shred ability by 9 and the rage cost of your lacerate. Lacerate. Is that a bear? Maul, bash, growl, swipe. I'm not seeing it. Is it a stealth ability? Pounce, rake, ravage, shred. Let's take the point. And then under add-ons, make sure that I have what's training. Where is this lacerate? Does it come later? It would be under feral. Ah! Get him! I was hitting the wrong button. Dire Enrage, Challenging Claw, Feline Graze, Ferocious Bite. Frenzied Ravage, Rip, Growl, Maul, Shred, Swipe, Pounce, Prowl. Tiger's Fury, Track, Humanoids, Rake. Travel Form. Okay, I've not learned it yet. Man, I don't even see it. Maybe it's way late. Now I'm interested. I want to look this up. Druid ability lacerate. Learned at level 38. Let's preface this with WoW TBC. Lacerate is a key bear form ability for Feral Druid tanks. Learned at level 66. Okay. Okay, so that's way down the line. It applies a stacking bleed effect that deals damage over time and generates high static threat on cast, making it central to single target tanking. And it stacks up to 5 times on a target, with each application extending the duration rather than resetting it. Well, that's kind of neat. Okay. Gotcha. Gonna close out that window. Okay, we are getting close to being done with this episode. I am wanting to keep these to an hour now. And, good news for those of you who are tired of watching this. I think I am pretty soon going to be trying to put together my next modifying cyberpunk video. I've been waiting for the motivation to get back there, and I think now that this sort of blitz to get ready for Kara, to, you know, get to 70, get my flying mount, and get ready for Kara has happened, then I can relax a little bit on WoW and get back to recording some of the other games that I've been playing. But there for about a solid week or two, from the opening of TBC to now, well, I guess maybe it's been more even than 2 weeks. It's really been pretty heavily World of Warcraft because this was the push phase. Level as fast as possible, get things in place like my mage disenchanting. That's been really important to me for making gold. I do not regret that decision in the least. I thought that was one of the actual kind of really smart decisions I made, because I was able to make a case for either in my mind, and I'm really glad that worked out in my favor. Getting trying to get geared, getting attuned, trying to get rep up so that I can do heroics. All of that stuff had to be done like priority 0. You know, it all needed to be done yesterday. And so it's been, I've been pushing really, really hard. I helped a lot of guildies as best as I could. I wanted to help a lot of guildies, but because my sleep schedule was so erratic, I did do a lot of help. I did, but not as much as I wanted to, because I had to log off and go get some sleep whenever I got tired, and those times happened to be the primary times that some people were on, so I didn't get to help out as much as I wanted to. But I did give quite a lending hand to a number of people who real life got in the way and they couldn't power level as quick as they wanted to. So to get people ready for that first Kara, we kind of missed. We didn't have everybody ready for the very first night that Kara unlocked. My guild did have enough to run a group, but a lot of us were not 70 yet. So the guild made it, but I did not, and a bunch of other people didn't. And then tonight, they just finished up Kara tonight, and I actually did not make the cut. It's just hard to fit in more than 2 hunters, you know. So hopefully I'll get to go next time around. I could have pugged. I had another guildie who wanted to team up with me and see if we could find a pug, but I initially said yes, and then I ended up whispering her later and said, hey, look, I hate to renege, but this is my first time ever doing this in my entire life. Whenever I was playing World of Warcraft before, back in vanilla WoW, I never saw Karazhan. And I put a lot of effort into my own character and to helping out guildies. And I just want to do this with the guild. You know, I don't want my first Karazhan experience to be a pug. That's almost... I make like a screwed up face, like a disgusted face whenever I say that. I don't want that. I even told her, I was like, this is going to sound stupidly sentimental, I think, but this is how it is. I really don't... I want my first Karazhan to be with the guild. It's as simple as that. And I didn't make the cut tonight. It was a really tough choice. I talked to the guy who was in charge of putting the roster together, and he really agonized over it. He wanted to get me in. He had other people whisper and be like, hey man, why is Trump not going? But the fact is that there's another hunter in our guild who is so good that the hunter that I considered to be like kind of a model for me, she had to respec. He's that good. He forced her out of beast mastery and into survival because he's that good. So he came as beast mastery, she came as survival. This was group 2 for us. It's our first time in Kara, so everything is going to be the hardest that it will be the entire season. Right, so you need to take your heavy hitters. Like, I'm trying to explain, because I don't want it to sound bad or like I'm throwing shade at people. I really, really understand it. But it's a bit of a heartbreaker for me also. Right? I mean, that's just... If I can be realistic enough to acknowledge that I understand why the choices were made that were made, and even understand that if I were in the same position for the good of the group, I probably would have done the same. Then I can also acknowledge the reality that it kind of, I wouldn't say it hurts. That I think that's silly. It's a game. I know nobody means... they're not being malicious about it. It's not personal. It wasn't a low-key, hey man, we don't like you, or you've been pissing people off lately. Nothing like that. That would have meant a whole lot more to me. In fact, that's what I got into to make sure about. That's why I went and talked to him about it, and that was the number one thing I wanted to find out about. Have I upset somebody? Is there something I've said? Do I need to build bridges because I've accidentally done something silly that I didn't really realize, or gotten under somebody's skin? And once I found out that was not the case, that this was just a nuts and bolts kind of math and logic decision, then I was really pretty okay with it. But at the same time, having put forth that much effort and been that excited about seeing new content for the first time with a guild that you really enjoy, it hits you in the feels a little bit. And so it is what it is. Both things are true. So anyway, I'm sure I will make the next group, or I'm hopeful that I will. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't count my eggs before they've hatched. Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. I'll set myself up for disappointment. I should probably assume that I'm not going to make the next one either. There's a lot of hunters, man. This is the reality of World of Warcraft. Everybody else has had to deal with this. So, even though I think I've been trucking with my character, I've been hitting hard, man. I'm usually lead DPS in dungeons. Here lately, that's not always been the case because I'm starting to run into people that are better geared than me, like a lot better geared. But I'm either 1 or 2, and when it comes down to single target, I'm hitting hard, man, and I know how to use misdirect, I know how to use the traps. So I don't think I'm trash. But there are better players than me, and that's just That's just the reality. That's just the reality. That's just the way it is. Which, to tell you the truth, a part of me kind of embraces that, because that's like a challenge, right? It's not a challenge as in disrespect me, I'll show you. I don't really tick that way. It's more of like, I have personal goals now. Like, I'm not up to snuff. I want to be on that raid team. So how do we deal with that? Do we deal with it with hurt feelings and crying? No. No, that's what a bitch does. I mean, I'm sorry to be that frank about it, and whenever I say that, I don't even mean girl. You know, but factually, men are not supposed to be feminine. That's why that term exists, right? But you're not even really talking about women in general. You're talking about a certain kind of girl, right? You don't complain and whine and cry and go, woe is me, and look at everything I've done for you guys, and how come I can't? That's a terrible approach. That solves nothing. Your life will be full of remorse if that's how you deal with things. Your response should be, okay, and then go out and try to get better. And for me, that's fun. I have guildies that are willing to work with me and help me to train and stuff like that, you know. So I don't know if I've really painted it well, but I think you can maybe see that there's like swirling, competing emotions going on within me, and I'm having to sort through it all, right? This is why I'm being transparent on this video, is that we're talking about a video game here, but how many of you run into this kind of stuff in real life? And I am hoping, I'm hopeful that I'm presenting an attitude and a methodology of that would have a better chance of success than the woe is me approach. All right, heal. Oh, he called another one. Well, I shouldn't have focused the cat first. That was a mistake, man. Well, now I know. So here's what I think my current challenge is. Right now, flat out, I'm demotivated. This just kind of took the wind out of my sails. I don't like that. I don't want that to be the case, but I need to face reality. I'm demotivated right now. This kind of sucked for me. And so, how do I respond to that? Because what could happen here, knowing my own personality, hold on just a second. I said this was going to be an hour-long episode and we're at an hour and a half, so I better wrap this up. Knowing my own personality, I am frighteningly a little bit like a light switch. One day I'm into it, the next day I'm not. That's just a true aspect of my personality. I'm kind of like I'm a really passionate person, and I'm really into you, or I'm not. Like, you don't matter to me, right? And it's like that with just about everything I can think of in my life. I just have these sort of like thresholds. I'm long on forgiveness. It'll take you, boy, man, I've had some people really even question how I could find good in somebody that's treated me really, really horrifically before. And it's because I have a lot of forgiveness, a lot of empathy. I can understand sometimes when people really, their personality is just to lash out. And I have thick skin, and I know how to not take things too personally, right? But at the same time, if you exhaust that over a really long period of time, if you exhaust that and you get on my blacklist, it's really kind of over. We may never talk to each other again. And I'm telling you, I don't have a lot of control over this. It surprises me. I'm also shocked. Right? I don't necessarily like this about myself. I feel like it's too mercurial. But I have obviously enough experience to know this is how I am. This is an element of my personality. So what could happen is that I pivot from World of Warcraft back into Bannerlord and Cyberpunk. Like, heavily. And I sort of just, I rarely show up in WoW, and this could last for a while. I really don't even know. It could even, theoretically, I don't see this happening, but theoretically, this could end up in me quitting WoW. That's how it happened before. I was playing WoW every single day for years, and then one day I woke up and was like, I think I'm done. And I just, like, I didn't think of it in that term. Actually, I didn't think in that term. Those terms. I thought to myself, I don't feel like getting on today. I just don't feel like playing. I'll play tomorrow. And then that sentiment went on for like 6 months. Every single day I didn't feel like getting on. I found something else to do. It wasn't that I hated WoW and that I was done with WoW. It was just more like a choice in the moment, like, I think I'd rather go do something else. And then eventually I just realized after a while, oh, you know what? I haven't played this game in a long time, and I'm still paying a monthly subscription. I should probably just stop. So there's a chance that I could just lean real heavily into a couple other games. I mentioned Bannerlord and Cyberpunk that I also like a lot, and that I have ongoing series with that I paused for World of Warcraft. But I think it's more likely that I'll just simply start devoting enough time to record episodes in those games. Rather than completely putting on... Right now they're on pause. And still be playing WoW, just not be playing it as much. So that's probably how it's going to go down. We'll see. Tomorrow, I might get right back into it, and bam, I'm grinding. I'm grinding dungeons again and having a lot of fun doing it, playing with guildies and stuff like that. Also, I would be remiss to not mention this. I am unable to tell how much of this has to do with me kind of feeling... Let's go ahead and get out of here. I'll tell you here in a minute. Let me see if I can survive this first. Man, you gotta love Druid. I would be remiss in not saying this. It is hard for me to unwind how much of this has to do with me being demotivated over not making the cut tonight, and how much of it has to do with the fact that phase where I put everything else on pause and I just push World of Warcraft really hard is done. Like, whether I went to Kara or not, in my mind, this was the big hoorah. This is why I was helping all the guildies, was to make tonight's raid. We had several that had not reached 70, had not gotten attuned yet. And I had reached 70 and I was attuned and I was signed up. I was one of the early people that signed up for tonight's raid. So I kind of thought my spot was locked, right? This is the first time I've faced this before. Again, whether I'd gone to Kara tonight or not, in my mind, that box got checked. We pushed really hard. I logged on. I made myself available as much as possible, given the fact that I was exhausted from the weird sleep schedule. And I feel like I really did my part to really, really help the guild and be a voice of optimism and stuff like that, right? And so even if I'd gone to Kara, in my mind, that box got checked and we're done. So that's what I'm trying to illustrate, is I'm really not sure how this is going to pan out. And if it breaks bad for me, I don't know how much of that has to do with being cut and how much of it has to do with maybe something like short-term burnout, where I just put in a lot of effort, right? Time will tell. But that's where we're at. We're going to go ahead and call it an episode here. Oh, you know what? I thought that said that I'd been recording for an hour and a half before. I have not. We just now hit an hour 9. So that's terrific. That's about the length. 1 hour is what I'm aiming for these episodes. But that's probably why I was in my head a little bit tonight, and I went long stretches of not talking, is because I was playing out scenarios in my mind and dialogue and trying to sort through, how do I feel? Why do I feel that way? Is it warranted? What can I do about it? Sizing up what my situation is in a realistic way and finding a positive can-do approach to solving that riddle, rather than a depressed, I suck, or even worse, how could they do this to me? This isn't fair. That's even worse. That's about the worst position I can think of right now. That's the worst position I can think of that you could adopt. If you're trying to, if we could roll this out to a real life scenario, maybe you got passed over for a promotion, right? The bitter, how can they do this to me? I've given them so much. There's no solution there. All there is hurt. There's no positive action, no positive response. The entire framework says I'm a victim. And there's no way around this for me. I can't get out of this. It is what it is. And they hate me. Right? And that's just most of the time. And most of the time in any situation in life, that's just not the case. That's not the case. So try to be realistic about everything in your situation. Be realistic about how you feel. Feelings are real. Feelings are important. That's a part of you. What shapes, I wouldn't say what shapes reality. See, we're in this thing where we say your truth, your reality. That's poison in the well. Do not think like that. Don't let yourself think like that. I'm telling you, that's an effing trap. Don't let yourself think like that. There is no such thing as your reality. You don't add that modifier. There's just simply reality. Reality is the same for everybody. Reality is the absolute truth. Okay, whenever you go back and you size up these different wars that happen, famous battles, the reality was always the same. What happened is that a general misread the field and made a poor choice. It might not be his fault. Maybe you can understand how he got tricked or befuddled, but the reality of the situation was always the same. That's what reality is. But then there's perception. Okay, your perception, that's where your feelings come in. Your perception of a situation fluctuates. And has to do with the realistic position that you are in personally. So I'm trying to be realistic in assessing my feelings and emotions here, and the fact that I feel a little bit demotivated, while also looking at the reality of why decisions were made, that it's not personal, that it's a math and logic thing, and there just simply wasn't enough spots. It's a 10-man raid, right? So put on your big boy pants, go out there and try to get better. That's my own response to myself, right? So I don't know if that's useful for anybody out there, but we have so much going on these days with stress and mental health issues, and I'm one who believes that everybody is dealing with a degree of mental health issues, because we live, in my opinion, in a world that is being socially engineered in order to put people into long-term stress situations that break their brains. That's kind of like a hallmark of our era. I don't know if this has been... Well, there's nothing new under the sun, so somewhere in human history this has happened. I mean, you could look at China right now, and that's kind of like their actual central premise for how they control their population. But at any rate, I think people are in tough situations. Mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and my greatest hope is that by being completely transparent with this example, and something that doesn't mean anything, doesn't cost anybody anything, but has real emotions attached to it, can maybe serve as a way to work through your own situation and find a positive approach that has a chance of a solution. It's not a guarantee, but it's a chance, and that's a whole heck of a lot better than no chance at all because you chose to adopt the victim mentality because you just can't get over the feelings, right? Feelings should be temporary. All right, guys. Again, I'm Aesop Grim. Thank you for coming by the channel. I hope you like what you saw. More importantly, I hope all is well in your neck of the woods. And I'll see you in the next episode where the story continues.
This place ain't no such thing as civilized. It's man, so in love with greed, he has forgotten himself and